experience in MICPA. Joshua Ng is a fully qualified CPA and chartered accountant as a member of MICPA and CAANZ. He has 8 years of experience in various fields in the financial services and logistic industry. He embarked on the MICPA while attached to EY Malaysia and then EY Melbourne. He has since worked with Bupa Insurance as is now with Australia Post as a senior finance analyst. So let's welcome Joshua.
Oh, here come the clap emojis. Can you guys hear me?
So Joshua,
Hi, Joshua. Yes, we can.
Hi, Joshua.
Oh, that's good.
Joshua.
That's good. All right. So thanks so much for that big intro. Behind me are a list of awards. Like only one of them is mine. The rest are my parents. So no. Yes. So just it's just there to look smart. But thank you guys for having me. I thought it would be good to just, I guess, share a bit of my background and experience with MICPA, CA in general, as well as working, and maybe towards the second half of my spiel, I'll just leave it open for you guys to ask any questions, or rather. So a bit about myself. So I started out in EY KL, good old EY KL, in the audit department or / division, doing mainly a financial services clients. So that's anywhere between I think there was MBSB, TA, never touched Maybank, thank goodness. Oh, I can't say that, but yeah, a variety of basically various insurance companies as well. And after that, basically, I did that for about 2 years. During that whole time as well, I was studying. So I was doing the MICPA / CAA exams. So as you guys have mentioned and very accurately pointed out before, you can do basically they're like 5 exams. So FIN, which is financial accounting audit, management, tax, the dreaded tax, and capstone, all of which you can do. Basically 4 out of the 5 exams, they're basically the same exams as the Australian guys do. So that's why it's directly recognized, because it's literally the same. You guys even do it at the same time. That's why they time it at I think like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning, just so that it's in sync with Australia or something like that. The only one that differs is tax. But yes, so 2 years in Malaysia doing that. Moved to Australia and started at EY Melbourne there for about 2 years as well. Still doing financial services clients from banks, insurance companies, fund managers, and then moved to Bupa Insurance. And there I worked as a financial accountant or senior financial accountant. Basically as in-house finance, taking care of all of the financial accounting, a lot of the cash flow forecasting and like revenue stuff. And then now I've basically spent about a year or so in Australia Post, so I guess 8 years altogether. I guess maybe I'll touch on the benefits of doing CA first, and then I might actually, just because I can now after 8 years, just apply each module to what I've learned over the years. So I guess just going, the main benefit, as you guys have accurately called out, is it's a globally recognized qualification. I can't stress how important that is. And to actually further my point, see, if this wasn't on Zoom, I couldn't do this, but if I was in person. So I've just put a list of jobs that I've just gone while you guys were having the quiz stuff from LinkedIn up on the chat. And those are, I guess, in my opinion, potential jobs that that would be available to you once you get your qualification, or as you do your qualification as well. And if you look there, I've literally gone just by company, and just looking for like senior finance positions. You have like Disney, Amazon, Boeing, and you'll see a lot of them. They'll ask for a certain number of experiences, as well as your CPA or well, some in America they call it CPA, PCA or whatnot, but they'll ask for a globally recognized chartered accountancy profession. Because MICPA as well slash CANZ is a member of the Global Accounting Alliance, your qualification is recognized globally. And that means that whenever you want to, wherever you go in the world, whether it's the US or the UK, Australia, Singapore, anywhere you go, it's recognized. People recognize you as a CA. That means that you can like go for managerial positions and not really be hindered. I've seen even in CA firms as well in Australia, like directors not being able to become partners because the qualification that they had is not recognized within the country. And I can't tell you how disheartening it is to see a person with like 15 years of experience who's really smart, but it just, that little qualification thing just stuffs things up a little bit. So I guess that's the main benefit of doing that as well, or of the qualification from, I guess, a branding perspective. You're globally recognized. But yeah, and as you guys rightly pointed out, the only one that differs is tax. Malaysia, you guys have to do the Malaysian tax, whilst the Australian guys do the Australian tax. Or if you're silly like me, do both tax modules because you operate in both countries. That being said, the Australian one is a lot harder, so do the Malaysian one. But I guess throughout my career, started out in audit, so doing the audit module as well. And one beneficial thing as you go about your studies is you're working as you're studying, so you immediately see all of the real life implications of what you do. So for audit, it's really like analyzing and questioning the integrity of the client's financials, making sure things are reasonable, and applying those auditing standards. Basically, making sure that people are reporting the right way and knowing that, it gives you the skill to be able to interrogate and analyze data, find out how things tick very quickly in a matter of weeks with certain organizations. And that's so you studying audit while being an auditor was really beneficial, and you basically become very, very proficient at taking part a lot of different processes of companies, let's say banks, the way, even the way they, like when you receive cash or whatnot, it goes into the system, it gets counted, sends up all the way up until like your financial statements. You look through all of those processes. Auditing by far is not a desk job. No, I think somebody called out as well before that you work at the client's premises. I wish it was a desk job so you could sit in one spot every day. No, it's not. You run around. To give you guys an example, a funny story is one of my colleagues actually in EY, KL. So one of our clients was an aerospace, basically a plane leaser. So in that process, you have to go down to KLIA, run to the nearest, get the manifest, run to the nearest gate, and make sure you jot down the serial number on the tail of the plane before it takes off, because then you make sure that the plane actually exists. So it is a wild and wacky profession, and it really establishes a lot of it gives you a strong base and a strong foundation at the start of your career. So that's a bit about audit and the benefits of like learning that as well as doing the work. Moving on into like my time in MICPA, so I was more as a financial accountant, and that's where a lot of the fin sort of aspect of the course comes into play, where you have to have a very strong, I guess, technical skills to be able to make sure you navigate the business through in a way that's compliant with the auditing standards, so you know what right and wrong are in applying that in a real world context and stuff. And as standards change and whatnot, you're on the front line being able to interpret like various movements. Say for instance, there was the implementation of like the new latest insurance standards or the new leasing standards, And it basically, there's no real time, there's no textbook. Like we literally have to get all the information. We send it off to like regulators and have discussions and whatnot, and advise the business on that, so they count on this. But yeah, Finn with that, and then now moving towards, so really beneficial as well. It's not a course where you only use 10% of what you learn. You use a lot of what you learn. And then I guess the next one would be management accounting, or MAAF, or Maaf in Malaysia, Math in Australia, right? That's a lot more of like decision making and how to, I guess, determine if things are working as well. So in Australia Post, now as a senior finance analyst, I am responsible for being like the advisor towards a lot of general managers and whatnot, being able to help them manage their budgets, to be able to forecast their results, to be able to land them in a position that puts them in the best position for success, and to be able to, I guess, identify any pain points or areas that where things might go wrong as well, and just determine when things are going well as well, and what are good investments. So that's a bit of management, really interesting as well. And I guess one of the main aspects of that is also influencing how people think, and yeah, just helping people make good decisions, because that's, at the end of the day, that's what's going to drive your company's profitability and what their performance. And then I guess we get to tax. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of tech experience in tax. It was actually my worst subject in Australia. In Malaysia, I did well in the exam because Malaysian tuition for some reason was good. But yes, and then you move on to the final thing, which is, I guess, capstone, where you draw it all together, and you learn all of that through the course of your whole professional career as well. Basically, in capstone, is a lot of how to present, how to take everything that you've learned and then bunch that up and synthesize ideas that you can take and present to your bosses and say, hey, here's a business case study. We think XYZ are profitable opportunities given, but we have a number of risks that we also have to consider as we go forward. So it really rounds out the whole experience, and I guess the whole course. But I guess at the end of the day, it really is it's actually the base point of the foundation of your career after you get out of uni, because uni, in essence, like it can be a bit generalist. This is when you've fully committed to, I guess, selling your soul in a way to accounting or finance, and really try to be the best in your art. Yeah. So we have about a minute left. Does anyone have any questions for me? Anyone?
So in general, do you think like accountant is would you how what are the parts that you think are interesting that people might expect? Like the stereotype is kind of not that very not that fun, I guess.
Oh yeah. Like
Like
not to.
like yeah, what parts of the job are like more interesting that you expected like before entering the industry?
It's really just understanding and having the skills to opportunities to understand how different companies work. Let's say if you work for like a Big Four or EY or whatnot, your clients would be like Uniqlo, Nissan, all of these big companies. If you work for one of your clients is Disney or whatnot, your job will basically be to understand how they work, literally understand like how Avengers makes money, how they make most of the money through like actually merchandising, and how that augments their business case. So if you go into it with that mindset, like you're using accounting not just as a subject, but as a tool to understand what you do, that's the most interesting part. Imagine going and understanding like Apple, how they actually build their products, how forward thinking they have to be, and how they go through all of their investment plans and stuff. That's the most interesting, understanding how all these companies tick and then applying that to yourself and allowing yourself to think of ideas that you can contribute to your clients. That's the best part for me.